Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Hope Watts, board certified family physician, health coach, speaker, author, and lifestyle expert. I help women with common chronic health problems get to the weight that they want to by finding the right food combinations and exercise. I hope you've been doing well. It has been 91 degrees here, and it's been in the 90s for quite some time here. However, this evening, I don't know. I think a rainstorm was supposed to come through, and the clouds just kind of passed by, but it cooled everything off. And I was outside talking to my neighbors, and they were just having a good time. So was I, because I had to catch up with them, find out what was going on. So hopefully you've been doing well, and hopefully you're not in those areas where it's just so hot that you just really can't cope at all. And hopefully, no, nothing has happened to your utilities. There haven't been any brownouts or blackouts. And hopefully, your air conditioning is working very well. So, today we are going to kind of bring together some of the things that we've talked about last week. Last week, we were talking about emotional eating and how it brings about these overwhelming urges and sensations to eat when we're feeling bad. And it just could be anxiety, it could be depression, it could be boredom, or we're lonely, or we're sad. But we did stress that a lot of times when people have emotional eating, that there are two things, and probably more, that occur after they finish eating. Number one, they realize that they've overeaten again, and that was not what they intended to do. And so they feel ashamed because of that. And the other thing is they're eating so much food that they're actually gaining weight, and that's something that they really don't want to do. And besides that, the emotions that were originally there before they ate are still there. They have not solved anything at all. But these urges come up, and they seem to be uncontrollable at times for them. And it's really a struggle for people who do emotional eating, because they want to relieve some of the stress and the tension and the emotions that they're experiencing, but maybe not doing it in a healthy way. So today we're going to talk about mindfulness and mindful eating. And that's exactly opposite of, you guessed it, emotional eating. Mindful eating is maintaining a moment-to-moment awareness of food and drink that you put in your mouth. So it's not a lot of hand to mouth type activity. You are eating purposefully. You know what you're going to eat, and you're going to take your time to make sure that you've gotten the right foods for you and that you're not overeating. The other thing mindfulness helps with is eating and really concentrating how foods make you feel. Because sometimes people with emotional eating and people who eat a lot, eat very fast, don't even know how the food makes them feel. They don't even taste the food because they're eating so fast. And making sure that the food that you're eating is what you really like, rather than, I'm just eating just to be eating. And if you're eating mindfully, you can actually decide that maybe certain foods are not the right ones for you. So with emotional eating, we have to acknowledge some of those feelings. And as we said, some people may need to seek out a behavioral health specialist to help with those feelings and to cope with them. Now, in the United States, we eat very rushed meals because there's a lot of deadlines we have to meet, a lot of meetings, and your boss may just say, hey, we're going to have a meeting at 5 o'clock tonight. and I need everything done by then. And this is at 9 o'clock in the morning. So you realize that lunch is, I'm going to have to wolf something down because I may not get a chance to do anything else. So in our culture, we have kind of developed some things that create rushing while we're eating, and we do it all the time. So when we drive to work, you stop off at Wendy's, or excuse me, not Wendy's, you stop off at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A to pick up, their breakfast food. And you may be eating on the way to work because let's face it, you have to, when you get to work, you've got to do some, start to work. You may be on a couch watching TV, or you may be sitting in front of your computer at lunchtime because you're still looking to see what else you have to do. So there's other reasons why we're eating faster. And this talk is not just for people who have emotional eating. This is for people who probably eat too much, even though they don't feel like they're an emotional eater. During these times when we're eating, sometimes we're doing it mindlessly. We go out to the truck. Some places do have trucks that specialize in certain menus. Sometimes we go to fast food, or sometimes we just bring it from home, but we're eating fast. And sometimes we eat so fast, we don't even really taste the food. So mindfulness is savoring the taste of foods, knowing what you're eating, and slowing down. And coping and really acknowledging some of the feelings that you have that may be making you eat some of the wrong foods. So as we said, mindfulness with our eating is exactly opposite of emotional eating. It is not a way to be perfect about what you eat, and it's not strict rules either, but it's paying attention, focusing on the meal, where you are, how you're feeling at that time, and how the foods make you feel. Mindful eating is not for everyone because it does take a certain amount of planning, because if you're going to be doing mindful eating, you have to plan out what food you're going to eat. And that may mean that you can't put a whole lot of junk food in your house because that's what you go to when you're getting really emotionally upset. It can also change your approach to food. You may not see food as some type of genie in a bottle that helps you feel better when you eat anymore. And it can change your attitude towards food and why you eat certain foods. Because remember, a lot of times we're a victim of habit, and we may have used those foods that soothe us so much in the past, but now we're trying to break that habit. So some of the benefits of mindful eating is slowing down, just slowing down. I think that one of the recommendations is to eat slower, like 10 to 15 minutes. Chew your food slowly. And that way you get a chance to taste what it really tastes like, and you're not just shoveling it down. And it helps you change your relationship to food, certain foods. So while you're when you're purchasing the foods, you're looking at what things are supposed to be healthier for you. So you may not even be buying those foods that seem to get hung up in, and you start putting them in your mouth too quickly and not really realizing how much you're eating. So another another corollary is that you may be eating healthier foods when you do mindful eating, especially if you're purchasing those foods ahead of time. And it's always good to plan out your meals because then you'll know what you're getting. And when Dr. Oz was doing this, he would go into people's houses and throw all this food out. You have the advantage. You can do it ahead of time and not bring it into your house. The other thing about eating slower is that you can start to feel fuller. And all of a sudden you feel like, I don't feel hungry anymore. And you start to push away from the table. The other thing is, and you may not realize it initially, but you start to eat and feel satisfied about what you ate. And you've already dealt with the emotions and you put them off to another time because you're going to enjoy your meal. And you may notice that you're starting to lose weight. Now, is this a shotgun thing that will help you? No, it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes discipline. But, and you don't have to do it with every meal. You can do it with at least 4 or 5 meals a week to start, and just spend the time saying, I'm going to slowly eat my food and I'm going to slowly concentrate on what I'm doing. And for some people, this is a way for them to really start figuring out why they're eating certain foods and why the relationship they're having with foods is probably not a healthy habit. And some people can do this themselves because there are lots of books out about it. And as we said, some people may have some other issues and may need to see someone who can help them sort through these things in a non-judgmental way. So this is our brief introduction to mindful eating. We will pick this up on Wednesday at 7 p.m. And follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And my book is ready, and we will let you know how you can pick it up on Wednesday. So good night, everyone. And thank you for tuning in to this brief introduction to mindful eating.